Okay, so for today's video, I want to jump into one about border shift. Basically, Britain's got some new and some incoming immigration rules, and yeah, what do they actually mean? Well, let's jump into it. I mean, from the off, immigration always sparks heated debate, more recently, more so than ever. But what's changing now isn't just headlines. It's likely to be the entire system. There are new laws, there are new thresholds. With this, it also brings new risk and possibly new opportunity. So today, I want to basically walk you through what I know of the major overhaul in the UK's immigration system under the current government, what the ripple effects might be for workers, for wages, for things like social cohesion, and also more. So the government has announced a white paper. This was actually announced back in May, and it was called something like Restoring Control over the Immigration System, something like that. It set out radical reforms. There were higher skills standards, tougher routes to settlement, employer obligations that were designed to boost domestic training. Basically, if you work, you hire, or you're looking at workforce changes, then this matters. If you're living in a community which has an influx of immigrants in the area, this obviously matters. So I guess we need to get into it. What's changing? So the settlement route has been extended in many cases from 5 years to 10 years for certain migrants. There are now employer duties that have been put in place to hire and train more domestic workers to reduce low skill international recruitment. So why the shift? Well, the government says that record net migration has, in their own words, gotten out of control. Thank you for acknowledging that finally. And that the policy shift is designed to prioritize, I guess, contribution and skills, probably above all else. So, from a labor market perspective, more pressure on wages for low skilled jobs, but also potential gaps because it means that fewer foreign workers, hopefully, will now flow in. So, what does this mean for us? Well, if you're in a lower skills job, you might see more competition. Your employer might shift their hiring policy. If you're in an employer role, training domestic workers will now become more essential and also possibly more expensive for you. If you're a migrant or you're thinking of migrating to the UK, you're going to see tougher rules. You're going to see most likely longer waits that will come with that while checks and balances are done. And also, you're going to see higher costs involved. And there is a broader ripple to all of this. This is more than just immigration. This is about labor supply. It's about wage pressure. It's about workforce demographics. And with that, you've also got pressure on the welfare state, the housing system, the benefit system, and also public services, things like wage setting, and also, as I mentioned earlier, social cohesion. So, whether you like the new rules or not, I guess on one level, they're a turning point. I mean, the UK is ever so slowly moving from open borders and, or shall we say, unmanaged borders and an open labour supply to now what looks to be, on paper, a more restrictive skills first model, probably the way it should have been to begin with. And that shift will touch jobs, wages, housing, migration. It'll basically cover all areas, making this everyone's issue, not just a migrant's issue. So, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen this in action? Perhaps in your job, have you seen this in action in your local area? Have you felt the effect of migration with migrants coming in, whether they're legal, illegal, irrespective of that? What are your thoughts on this? Drop it below and let me know. I'm really interested to see how this pans out because I know that obviously Nigel Farage and Reform have got their own very fixed idea on what makes a sensible border and migration policy. And it has to be said, I haven't really any particular political leaning. I'm not left, right, red, blue, whatever. But in terms of the migration and how to deal with it and how to quell the hemorrhaging of funds that we're currently experiencing, I think probably reforms policy seems to be about the most sensible. Basically, just shut everything down, ship those that aren't legally meant to be here back, and concentrate on tightening things up and getting our own country in order before we reopen those borders. On balance, just looking at it from the outside view, that seems the most sensible thing to do. Now, really interested to hear all sides, though. I appreciate that you might disagree. It is just one man's opinion. Drop it below, let me know. YouTube is going to put another video there. Like, follow, subscribe, ring the bell, all that jazz. Another one tomorrow. Goldman, peace out.